You know, if you've ever been in research, you know the feeling. That eureka moment is incredible, right? But then comes the hard part, turning that breakthrough idea into an actual scientific paper. We're talking about a serious mountain to climb. The drafting, the endless literature reviews, visualizing the data, the constant polishing. It's a grind. But what if an AI could just do it all for you?
Well, that's pretty much the exact question a team at Google decided to take on. And get this, they weren't just thinking about building a slightly better spell checker or a simple writing assistant. No, they were aiming for the whole shebang, a fully autonomous system, something that could take your messy, raw ideas and just spit out a complete finished manuscript. I mean, is that even possible?
So to really appreciate just how big of a deal this is, you gotta understand the absolute gauntlet that is academic writing. It's this super complex, multi-step dance, and honestly, it's a process that has completely stumped every AI that's tried to tackle it from start to finish. Until now.
Yeah, see, the older AI writers, they just couldn't juggle everything. You had systems like PaperRobot, which, struggled to write a whole paper. Then there were others like AI Scientist V2 that weren't what you'd call standalone. Basically, you couldn't just hand them your notes and say go. They were hardwired into one specific experiment. And forget about creating conceptual diagrams from scratch, none of them could do that. PaperOrchestra was built to smash through all of those walls.
All right, so how on earth did they pull it off? Well, the answer isn't what you might think. It's not one giant superbrain AI. It's actually something way more clever and elegant.
They call it PaperOrchestra. And honestly, the name is just perfect. Because it's not a solo performance. It's a whole orchestra of different AI agents. Each one a specialist, all working together. Every agent has its own specific part to play. And when you put them all together, they create this symphony of writing a research paper. And this symphony, it unfolds in 5 main steps. It's how they take this massive, overwhelming job and break it down into something totally manageable and automated.
Okay, so here's the 30,000-foot view of how it works. On the left, you've got the raw ingredients, a basic summary of the idea, some notes from the experiment, and the formatting template for the conference. PaperOrchestra takes all that and runs it through its 5-step process to create the final paper you see on the right. So let's break down exactly what each of those little AI agents is doing.
First up, we have the composer. This is the outline agent, and its job is to create a super detailed blueprint for the whole paper. It even plans out what visuals are needed and what research to look up. Now, while that's happening, you've got 2 other agents working in parallel, the illustrators and the librarians. The plotting agent is busy making all the charts and diagrams from the data. At the same time, the literature review agent is scouring the internet, finding all the relevant past research. Okay, once that's done, the author steps up. This is the section writing agent, and it pulls everything together, the outline, the figures, the citations, and writes the first full draft. But it's not done yet. Finally, the conductor, which is the refinement agent, takes the spotlight. It reviews the whole thing, polishing and perfecting it until it's ready to go.
Okay, that whole process sounds incredibly impressive, right? But here's the million-dollar question. Does it actually work? This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's see how PaperOrchestra's writing actually stacks up, not just against other AIs, but against papers written by actual humans.
All right, first, let's look at the literature review. This is a make-or-break part of any research paper. And in head-to-head automated tests, well, PaperOrchestra didn't just win, it completely dominated. We're talking a win rate of over 90% against the other top AI systems. That is an absolute knockout.
So what about the ultimate test, getting published? The team used another AI to simulate a tough peer review process. The result? Papers written by PaperOrchestra got an 84% acceptance rate. Now, to put that into perspective, the original human-written papers they were modeling had an 86% rate. It is performing almost exactly at the level of human experts. That's just wild.
And a huge reason it does so well is the depth of its research. Most other AIs just do a skin-deep review, maybe grabbing about 14 citations. But PaperOrchestra does a proper deep dive. It pulls in an average of 47 citations, which is getting really close to the 59 you'd see in a human-written paper. So it's not just listing related work, it's actually understanding the whole conversation in the field.
Look, automated tests are great, but what about the ultimate judges? Real human experts. So they had 11 AI scientists do a blind side-by-side comparison, and the verdict? It was crystal clear. They consistently preferred the papers written by PaperOrchestra for overall quality, rating them way higher than the competition. And hey, remember that final conductor step? This is where you really see how crucial it is. That refinement agent takes the first draft and just keeps improving it over and over. And that final polish? It gives the paper a massive boost. We're talking up to a 22% jump in its chances of getting accepted. This is literally the step that takes a pretty good draft and turns it into a prize-winning paper.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. What does a tool like this actually mean for the future of science? It's a really deep question, and the answer goes way beyond just getting rid of a boring task.
See, this isn't just about writing papers faster. It's about supercharging the entire engine of scientific discovery. Think about it. When you slash the time it takes to get new knowledge out there, researchers can go from idea to impact so much faster. They can build on each other's work at a speed that was honestly unimaginable before.
Now, of course, the creators are really clear on one thing. They see PaperOrchestra as an incredibly powerful assistant, not a replacement for the scientist. They make it a point to say that a human researcher has to stay in the driver's seat, you know? They're the ones who are ultimately responsible for making sure everything is accurate, original, and valid.
And that kind of leaves us with this one really fascinating final thought. For all of history, science has been this uniquely human thing. But now, as AI starts to become a genuine collaborator, like a co-author in our own research, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What incredible new discoveries are we going to unlock with this new partnership?